This is episode 10 of the Feudal Anime Podcast, King's Game. I am Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today is going to be a mind-numbing discussion about an anime we both actually thoroughly think is royally messed up beyond belief. Oh my gosh.
If you were a fan of the anime Another, you would be a fan of this.
To say the least, yeah. Oh my gosh.
This anime brings gore to the forefront of, I guess, realism, if you could even say that. Because it messes with your mind, it messes with your just gag reflex, I mean, to be honest.
The synopsis is, it can be tough, it can be rough, transferring to a new school, even more so if you don't want to make any friends, like the main protagonist, Nobuaki. But the reason for his antisocial behavior soon becomes very clear when his classmates receive a text from someone called the King. Included are instructions for the class, for everyone, about the King's Games. And all members of that class are participants, whether they like it or not. It doesn't matter if they, even at the very beginning, don't want to participate. If they receive that text, you're a member, period.
And you're screwed.
If you refuse to play, you quit halfway, or you don't follow the order within the allotted time of 24 hours, you'll receive a punishment. Now, unfortunately, most of the time, the punishment is deadly. I don't think... No. You can receive a punishment and have it not be deadly. Although most people end up having a reaction, and it usually is deadly.
Yeah, I would say that maybe 2 out of the whole series, 2 punishments weren't to kill yourself or die in a horrible way.
Yeah, and it is pretty screwed up. Now, the reason why Nobuaki, the reason for him being antisocial is because he is actually a participant from a game before. Now, you don't know too much about this. You just know that he comes from another school. He's very antisocial, and you learn that he played the game before, and everyone's talking trash. They're being mean. They're picking on him. They're acting like he's the one that sent the text, and he is like an absolute horror about it. But it's pretty apparent that he has a very good reason to be very scared. Yeah,
and if you don't realize what it is at the very beginning of the episode, you realize that in the middle and the end, because it's no joke, even though everyone seems to think it is. Now, in this day and age, in the day and age that they're supposedly in, you've got cell phones, you've got email, you've got text, you've got all that stuff, right? So I would say it's fair to say that you're in semi-modern to modern time, correct?
Yeah. I mean, like, this came out just roughly around the same time as In Another World with my smartphone. It came out just like a couple of months actually before then.
Okay. So given the idea that in their world, they're in roughly the same amount of time, you would figure that a transfer student coming from a school where the entire class killed themselves or murdered or mysteriously stopped living or anything else, a whole class, you'd see that in the news. And even if there was only one survivor, you'd be like, well, shit.
This anime, I really don't know where to really begin. I mean, like, I really don't.
A little bit flustered, are you?
Well, it is that screwed up. I mean, they don't waste any time throwing you into a really screwed up situation. Now, after everyone receives the text messages, the girl he's supposed to kiss for his first order is Honda. Now, the girl he was in love with, he cared deeply about, her name is Honda. Now, when he hears the name Honda, he immediately remembers the girl he was in love with.
PTSD-esque, if you will.
Indeed.
Now, Honda, I believe, was their last name, not their first name, right?
Correct, yes. Now, the first name, his girlfriend, her first name was actually Chime.
This girl's obviously not the same girl. Different hair color, different mentality, if you will. At least At least in episode 2, her mentality is way different. At the very onset, she's very athletic. She's very quick. She's loved by everyone, and she just starts to like go after him pretty hard. You're like, well, it's an anime. The protagonist needs to have some kind of love interest, right? Not to this extent.
Yeah, no, not to this extent, but I mean, like, it's not really apparent. I mean, like, she tells him that she loves him. She tells him all that stuff, but then at the same time, she just like when the king text messages comes through. And the second order is for her to have sex with a particular guy. And she's like, well, I want to lose my virginity to you. I love you, this or that, and everything like that. And he says no. And he's very put off, and he's trying to warn everyone about it because you're also one of the orders is no one's supposed to go to sleep. And then a lot of people sleep and they all end up dying because that's the second order. And that's only 2 episodes. That's still episode 2.
But here's the thing. It's not that they saw it and went to sleep. They were already asleep, and the order came in around midnight. So everybody sleeping during this time died.
Exactly. They didn't even have a choice. And some people started going to sleep. He busts into one of his classmates and tries to save him because he was strangling himself because that was that's the order. If you fall
Die of asphyxiation, yeah.
Yeah. So everyone that was already asleep, dead. And I think in the first night, by episode 2, it was like a class of 32 people. A third of them already killed.
10 were dead. 22 were left.
Yeah. Third of them dead. And her order, Honda's order, the not his girlfriend, but not Chime,
the sister.
Mm-hmm. Which you do find out later on that that it was her sister that she was in love with.
Yeah.
Or that he was in love.
Yeah, they were twins. I imagine fraternal because the difference in hair color and facial structure, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah,
they're not identical. She was told that she needed to sleep with a guy. And because he said, no, you got to do what you need to do. It's up to you. You're Jehoias, blah, blah, blah. Very nonchalant, whatever. Kind of whatever. She just goes full psycho. It's like the switch flips and she's full psycho at that point.
Yeah, she turns on like the super smile. It's kind of nuts because she was like, hey, can I talk to you over here for a minute? This is all after she's like, I want to lose my virginity to you. And then while they're alone, she goes and she reveals that she's played this damn game before. She knows the rules. She's just like him, a survivor of the game. And it shocks him.
Although she doesn't exactly tell him that she's a survivor before. She starts talking trash because he's like very nonchalant. It's like, why are you over here? Why are you talking to me? This and that. And then she starts yelling and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I wasn't trying to touch her. I wasn't trying to do anything. And everyone's looking at him like he's the one sending these text messages. And one guy just starts beating and kicking him.
Yeah. And he gets 2 other guys to help hold him down. And he kicks him in the mouth.
And dies.
Like straight up about losing your teeth. Now, the thing I didn't understand is, yeah, he died. It said that everyone got a text, so-and-so disobeyed an order. And then he's like, oh, this is complete and utter and he starts spitting blood, and he gets boils and warts just erupting from his body, and he dies. And almost everyone realizes, and you as the viewer realize that, oh, holy crap, it's literally not someone killing everybody, not someone forcing me. Something's happening where they all are just destroying themselves.
Yes.
Or it's mind-blowing how this is happening. Typically the king will have you kill yourself.
Yeah. Or you'll die from some random situation. It's not even that you're going to kill yourself. You're going to be royally screwed up big time.
Yeah, like some of them, some of the people, as you'd see if you watched it, actually like they don't rip themselves apart. They just fall apart. They disassemble, if you will. Or like the leg like blows itself off for some reason. The arm twists itself over and over and over until it is like thrown off. And you're like, what the hell is going on? It makes absolutely no sense. Each order that comes in, day, it gets consecutively harder and harder to do. Like, for instance, in the first few days, it's like, so-and-so touch someone's chest. Okay, simple enough. You and you kiss. Okay, cool. You go have sex with him. That's a little bit more, but all right, it's definitely doable. You text die to two people and they're going to die. If you don't, you're going to die in their place. Wait, what?
Yeah, and that order actually came. That's the second order that was actually given out, along with massive other orders. So the first order that came in was like, this person and this person kiss. All right, whatever, haha, harmless fun. They kiss. Second order comes in, everyone just like blows through everything, and it's like, you can't go to sleep. Apparently, the second order, or the order for the one guy that died kicking Nobuaki, his order was to not kick him, I'm assuming. And then you had like also these two people have to have sex. And then this person has to text two people, die, and they're going to die, or she's going to die. And then someone else received an order and he has to give an order to the whole class, and the class has to follow it. And it's like, what the hell?
Now, to that order, to that idea, if he was smart enough, he has to get, I believe the wording was, he gives an order, and it says, if the king issued said order.
Yes.
So, what he might have been able to do, and I was thinking about this, he could have said something along the lines of, the king must commit suicide and leave everybody alone before 2 p.m. You know, he could have said that, and it would have been the king's order. The king cannot go against his own order, right? I mean, you would think the orders of a king are obsolete, or are absolute.
If he orders the king to kill himself, that's one thing. But you learn, like when, because the guy who got the order, or who was able to give that order, he's being told about what's going on, right? About what happened before, Nobuaki's past experience with it. Now, how they're getting there, now they're going to where supposedly this whole area was before. Where the first where the first king's order came around, and it wasn't by text or cell phone or anything like that. It was by mail,
by parcel.
Yes.
So I think I can explain that a little bit, because so for some reason the storyboard, this director decided that it was going to be advantageous to tell both stories side by side of Nobunaki's original class and what happened with them. He's explaining to two characters, two of his classmates, as everything's unfolding around him, he's telling them about his old class. This is something that he should have told everybody to begin with, because I think that would have increased everybody's likelihood for survival. But his old class, there was a really smart chick who was sitting back and not getting any orders, thankfully, or, you know, as the story goes, this by design. And she was able to find that there was one town prior to their class being screwed over that had something like that go on. So she found it, and she was like, hey, we should go here. Unfortunately, they never did, but in jump to the present time, he and two other classmates, the girl who was supposed to text die to two people, and the guy whose order was absolute, as if it was the king, are accompanying him to the old, to the village where everything supposedly potentially started. Right.
And it's really hard to articulate too, because it is for 2-3 episodes, and it's only a 12 episode anime. For about 3 episodes, you have him telling the whole story of what's happening. And one of the orders, because someone had said, you know, you're going to give an order in front of the class and everything like that. And everyone thought it was going to be someone in the class that was the king. And so she gave herself the order saying, I have to touch the king. And she literally touched everyone. Everyone in there, every single person got touched.
In her classroom.
In her classroom. Now, you learn, because he was talking about it towards the end of the whole journey of everyone dying and everything like that, you learn that the person that was really smart, really hanging back, everyone was like, what the hell? You know, is it her? Really was a survivor herself of the King's Game. And so there is, in order from how it works, if there is a survivor, they carry on into the new game, or they carry it to the next class with them. And she thought she could beat it. She said it was a virus. It evolved into a computer virus. And so she tried hacking it and beating it and ended up disobeying the king's order, and then just like spontaneously combusts into flame.
See, I did not know that she was a survivor.
Yeah, she had talked about it. Her past experiences, she was at another school, and you find out about this, about the Psycho Honda. It was also a past survivor like Nobuaki. And at the very end, you have to, like, it's when it's just you and one other person, and most of the time it's the person you love, you have to kill that person. At least that's how it ended for him. At least that's how it ended.
Not in a clean way either.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter how they die. They just need to die. One of those two need to die. And then something he doesn't tell anyone else, because he doesn't really tell them how it ends. When when his girlfriend Chimi got killed because she forced him to kill her, he was given a choice to either continue playing the game or take a punishment.
The punishment obviously would have been death.
Exactly. So that's why he was alive, and that's why the Psycho Honda was still alive. She chose to continue to play the game.
Now that right there brings me to my question. Psycho Honda and him are both survivors of the game. They both chose, after killing their whole class, essentially, they said, I want to subject this to somebody else. Screw it.
Well, Honda says she's going to survive no matter what. Now, after someone dies, they receive another text message with a specific character. And you'll find this out at the very end, and it is so screwed up. But the whole journey there is royally screwed up. I mean, the person that was supposed to text die to two people, she ended up breaking her phone, and she got a new phone, and she text die to two separate people. Well, because it wasn't from the original phone, she ends up dying. And because she's dying because it wasn't from the original phone, the guy that was with them, who was saying that he's going to protect her no matter what, because he couldn't protect her, he ends up dying too.
Oh, okay. So to clarify that point, you are correct. To clarify that point, the gentleman who he's referring to is the one who had to say an order, and the order would be as the king said it, I guess. And he ordered himself to save the chick who had to text two people because he secretly loved her.
Yes.
And she secretly loved him. That brings me to another freaking point. Like, what the hell? Why does everybody love everybody all of a sudden?
Well, you know what?
When
Here's
I was
the
going
thing.
to school, this shit didn't happen to me.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't have 19 girls freaking love me. And I went to a big ass school.
Well, you and I both. But here's the thing, man. Her love was so screwed up that instead of her, saying, oh, let's live together, try and make it through, she's like, no, I'll text your and my name and we'll die together.
Yeah. Let our love be eternal. Driven to the frickin' brink, I'm going to kill you and kill me, and we can always be together forever. Yeah, no. But again, okay, now going back to it, the crazy Honda, she had a love in her old school.
She
right?
did. Yeah, no, she did. Now, and her...
By the end of this episode, Nobunaki has got one dude fall in love with him. And the crazy Honda chick... the uptight Ren-san, I think her name was. Ren, something like that.
Yeah.
She loved him. Mm-hmm. Like 3 girls loved him, plus 1 dude loved him. And they all happened to be at the end. Like, they all survived until the end. This is like this love fest for a dude who doesn't want any of them.
She did actually love him. Like, Ren actually did love him. And he actually was falling in love with her. But the thing is, he didn't want to abandon anyone. He didn't want to leave anyone behind. He wanted everyone to be alive. And that drove Crazy Honda up the wall because
made her even crazier.
It did. And she was with the mentality. She said, it doesn't matter who I have to kill, what I have to do, anything at all. I will live and I will survive. And she was also, having survived King's Game before, was figuring out that everyone that was murdered, everyone that died, received a letter after...
A character.
Yeah, a character after they were killed, after they died.
After everybody was died in the original village, they were sent a letter that says that you disobeyed. Now, on the back of that letter was a character of some kind. When everybody was getting a text message in Nobunaki's class, on their cell phone, they would receive a text message from the king. You've died, or this is how you're going to die. And then immediately after, they get a text message of a character.
Yes.
So when you string all the characters together, in theory, it's going to create a sentence and give you a clue in which to beat the king's game.
Supposedly, they think, but they don't know. And so they're going through, they're trying to all survive together, and it really plays like no matter what, human nature takes over. And I hate to say it, but we're all greedy, selfish individuals, like beyond all reasonable doubt. And so it really starts to show, like, people are trying to save each other at the same time. And it's like, people are like, you know what, screw this. We have to run from here to the mountain and be at the summit within 24 hours. Forget that. Running up the stairs, grabs this guy, yanks him down. Every 8 hours, whoever's furthest behind is going to die.
Okay, now going back to explain what you just said, there was the king said everyone has to race to the summit of this place. Turns out it's like 3 islands away. Doable, but you got to be at a steady pace. Nobunaki actually stays behind with the last 3 people and forces them forward, making sure that everyone except him would make it. He wants to die. You come to see that. He wants to die because he doesn't want to be the one to survive again. And as you find out, make that final decision. So he's running with Rinona, or I don't know. Anyway, he's running with her, and up ahead in the group, what he's talking about is one of the surviving guys is like, I screw this. I can't be the last guy. And pulls the guy in front of him back down and throws him backwards. And he injures himself and he dies. He doesn't die, but he will end up becoming game fodder, if you will. But Nobunaki finds him too. They all run together. When the first 8-hour mark approaches, and they just decide to sit down and just observe the sunset, have a nice peaceful time. Dude falls in the ocean on accident. Nobunaki dives down to get him, and unfortunately he was too far gone. And so he and Rin start running again. Now, the whole run, it almost takes the entire 24 hours. How they did it, I don't know. I know for myself, I'd be dead.
I would be dead too. It's a far run.
Yeah. It was like, what was it? Like it was damn near a full marathon, like a full 50-kilometer marathon. People can do it. I understand that. I can't.
I'm pretty sure it was a lot further than a 50-kilometer marathon. I mean,
yeah. Now, any form other than walking or running was not allowed. Any form of transport.
Any form of transportation.
If you hopped on a scooter on accident, you'd die.
If you had the rolling shoes, if the rolling shoes were there, you were SOL.
Just imagine if you had, oh crud, what were they called? You're right, the rolling shoes, wheelies or heelys or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Heelys. If you had the heelys, you'd be disqualified immediately and just done.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But at the very end, Crazy Honda makes it first. Again, as I said in the beginning, she's great at running. So she makes it at the very end. She makes it very first. And so what she starts doing is setting up traps and detours because, again, she just wants to make sure she's going to survive no matter what. So she makes detours, and once she arrives and makes the area, she runs back down and starts misguiding people. Yeah.
And she had said several times that she was going to survive no matter what. No matter what. So she betrayed her friend. I think her name was really simple too, Amy. But yeah. she said, and I, if you're my best friend, you'll this and that. And she totally just abandons her. And at one of the games, everyone's like, you have to break the fingers on your hand. So everyone got together. They all were sitting around in a circle because Crazy Honda had the guy's cell phone who she had to have sex with, and she had a Nobuaki's cell phone. Now, she could have easily killed those two by just simply blocking the king's messages, because that qualifies as you disobeying the king's order or dropping out of the game, and you will drop dead instantly. And it doesn't matter if someone else does it for you. It's your phone. You're the one denying it, so you're the one that's going to die. Now, I apologize for all the jumping around, but because of how this anime was laid out, because of how it plays all the way through, it is hard to just like stay with one all the way through, beginning, middle, and end, without really dissecting each episode individually. Even then, it's still hard to not jump around because you're trying to follow this one person, and it's like, oh, but she really screwed something up, or she did something really screwed up. So I want to apologize to everyone for jumping around, but it is just that kind of show.
Yeah, no, it's freaking... As bad as we're jumping around, imagine having to watch this the first time.
I mean,
and then
in the first episode, it jumps around, and then you have 5 episodes after that you continue to jump around. So it jumps around all the way through. But
to clarify, to give a little bit of continuity, the Crazy Honda, when she went to have sex with that guy because of the king's order, she took his phone, and technically, I don't think she gave it back yet. And when she did give it back, to eliminate that guy because he started to side with Nobunagi, she blocked the king. So when everybody got a text message that came through, he didn't, which violates the rules by removing yourself from accepting text messages. It removes yourself from the game, and leaving early is against the rules.
And so the way he and Nobuaki get their phone back is because they have to, and it's just the game just before the run. One of the games is, if you break the fingers on your right hand, it's a positive point. If you break the fingers on your left hand, it's a negative point. You don't have to break any fingers. If you break fingers, you can either keep the points yourself or assign them to someone else.
Yeah. So in theory,
sorry. I just remembered that whole scene too. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. So in theory, everyone could pass. There was 11 people left, something like that. And so the way that the game was rigged is if they said that you could cut your finger off on the right hand, every finger was worth 1 point and your thumb was worth 1 point. You can give them to one person or you can give them to multiple people.
And you could also break it, breaking or cutting off. Yeah. It was one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Breaking was allowed as well. So the dude who had sex with the Crazy Honda girl always had a dream about being a hairstylist. And he goes, "Hey, Nobunaki, come on over, have a seat. I'd like to do your hair real quick." And he went up to everybody. "Is it okay if we pause this?" And they're like, "Yeah." It was his turn. So he said, "All right, fine." So he started cutting his hair. He's just telling him about his dream of being a world-class hairstylist.
Dude, I was waiting. Awesome. I was waiting for him to just like snip off a finger. Just like right there.
Oh, no. Personally, I was waiting for him to just gut him. We just all want this to be over and slit his throat. Like, that's where I was going, because that's how this anime has been. Everyone seems to just be cutthroat, almost literally at times. And no one cares about somebody else. So he's cutting and telling his life story, doing his old backstory. You start to feel for him a little bit. And so he sits back down and he goes, "So now I'm going to do this." And he breaks one of his right index finger. And he doesn't just break it. When you see it in the anime, it's like mangled. And they're like, "Oh shit, are you okay?" He goes, No, it's fine. It's fine. It'll heal. My hand will heal. I'll be good. So everybody sits back down. He goes, "I dedicate this point to Nobunagi." He's like, "All right." And then he takes a rock and he goes and he smashes the heck out of his left hand. He goes, "Oh, that's 4 fingers.
There's
but I still have a thumb."
There's a thumb.
And he just destroys his left hand.
Oh.
And he gives 4 points to Crazy Honda Chick, and 1 point to Crazy Honda Chick's friend Amy.
Yep.
And he was I was going to give you all 5, talking to Crazy Honda, but your friend over there felt bad and she wanted 1. So Honda's like, shit. Well, there's 4 people left and they're all on my side. If they each break 1 finger, they can save me from dying. So he tries to convince them, and everybody except Amy says pass. And Amy's about to pass too. And she's like, no, we're friends, right? You love me, right? We're the best of friends, aren't we?
Now, hang on. You forgot one critical point here. Just before it was Amy's turn, it was Crazy Honda Chick. And she said, and they were told, they told her, they're like, look, for you to not die, you have to break 4 fingers on your right hand. And she passes.
She doesn't want to hurt herself.
Yeah, but she convinces Amy that, hey, I want you to do this for me. Don't you want to be my friend? Aren't we best friends?
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me. And I realize this is breaking continuity just a little bit, breaking the storyline just a little bit. But this leads me to believe that this Honda chick, the crazy one, has been in the class for a while.
Yeah.
Which means that she had her own King's game a while ago, right?
It was probably the previous year in theory, if not a little bit longer.
No, because their flashback shows them to being a lot younger, like maybe 2 or 3 years younger, unless they have a growth spurt where their tits come out and they grow like 3 feet. But
maybe. You can't deny that as a possibility. I mean, like, we're talking about a cell phone text message killing you.
Yeah, well, we'll find out in a little bit to figure out what happened with that. But okay, so going back to that, if in fact Honda had been there before, had gone through the King's game before, and they'd been doing this for at the very least, a year. The only transfer student was Nobunagi.
Yeah.
Crazy Honda chick was kind of like a staple that was already there, right?
Yeah.
So think about this. Why didn't the King's game follow her before?
How do you know?
Why did it wait 2-3 years? Because she was not the transfer student.
Well, it maybe, just maybe, is that it's one class a year. Just
and
throwing that out there.
Just wasn't her.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it wasn't her because it was someone else. Although, you know what? I take that back. I remembered after the credits.
Exactly.
So, yeah, no, you're right. I don't know why it skipped her 1 year. I mean, like, you're right. It does give her the impression, or give us the impression, rather, that she has been a part of the class for a lot longer than Nobuaki, at least another year.
I would go so far as to say at least 2, only because in their flashback, they looked smaller.
Although the flashback is a little bit quicker, a little bit faster for her.
True. No, I'm not trying to say that it was a full story, but that first I thought we were friends. But at the very end, when she ends up dying and she calls Nobunagi's like her first love's name, and they try to show that they superimposed her first love's image on Nobunagi, and it looks like he's older. So it looks like it should have been last year. But the continuity doesn't really make sense. And if it was last year, does that mean you've got multiple King's games going on? And if you did, wouldn't it be a huge epidemic where everyone's like, oh shit, one class out of every school is just up and killing themselves? Whom? Them kids. It's all the goth music they're listening to.
No. It's all those video games, sir.
Yeah. It's all it's Call of Duty 19.
Excuse me. Grand Theft Auto, you plebeian.
Oh, that's right. They can get hookers and cars and whatnot.
Exactly.
That's why they're killing themselves.
But, man, this, in the very last episode, they finally make it to the mountain, and it's only like 4 people that actually make it there.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 people total.
And one of the 4 people is he's off his rocker because the 4 people that made it there, they receive one of their final king's orders. And it's you have to make a puppet out of the bodies or whatever, and it has to be life size. Of the existing people. So you can't go to a dead body and make a doll. It has to be of the people who are currently there. You have to make a life-size doll
from the people. Now you could have a finger from one person, an arm from another, a head from things like that, but you would need a minimum of 2 people to die to continue this.
Yes, and there's only 4.
Theory,
so
yeah, there's only 4. So
one
in
of
theory,
them,
you could have chopped the head off one and chopped the other. And chopped the head off the other and just made it dissect the bodies and piece them together. And that would have done that. However, when they get this, the crazy Honda girl, the kid, the boy who's in love with Nobunaki.
No, hang on. There were actually 5 people. I forgot. Glasses Girl, who was in love with the kid that totally went off his rocker and took a chainsaw to his own leg.
Yep. Okay. No, we're getting that. But okay. So there are 5 people. I apologize. 4 people plus Nobunaki. Now you've got Ren-san, Nobunaki,
Crazy Honda.
Crazy Honda, the boy who wants to be like Nobunaki, strong, and starts to become infatuated with him on the run, and the chick who is in love with the guy who is off his rocker and infatuated with Nobunaki. Now, I mentioned before that he was in love with him. I mean, given the storyline of every other kid being in love with somebody, I made that conclusion. If you watch it yourself, you can come to your own conclusion. But the infatuation he feels, in my opinion, borders on psychopathic love. That said, when the order comes in, we got to create a human doll. He's like, I don't know what we're going to do with it. And crazy Honda lady, here's a chainsaw. Talk about product placement. It might have been a Honda chainsaw. You don't know. Anyway.
Well, it's not that he's confused about what he's going to do. After he gets the chainsaw, he's like, I'm going to be strong like Nobuaki. I'm going to be, strong for everyone. So he starts it, and he starts chopping his own leg off.
Now, for a little bit of comedic value, he tries to start it at first and can't do it. And Honda chick goes, well, if you hold that thing down when you pull the cord, it'll turn on. And then it does, and he goes, I know what I got to do. And then he takes a knee like the football players do and just decides, all right, blade first, going to chop off my left leg at the hip. And he just goes to town.
And now it gets stuck on a bone. So Crazy Honda's like, let me help you, and kicks his leg, or kicks the chainsaw down further where his hands are to help cut through what's there.
Yep. And then when it does, he goes, I need help getting my arms and my other leg and my arms. Help. I'm losing blood, but I want to be strong like Nobunaki. And you're just like, dude, this guy's off his rocker. I feel so bad. And that when I said the gore and the vomit-inducing just mayhem that goes on, I was not referring only to the fact that, it's realistic. Because it's not very realistic. The blood that comes out isn't like true blood color, and you don't see entrails. You don't see all the nitty-gritty. It's more psychologically like, oh my God, he literally just cut his leg off and got stuck in the process. And this chick has so little regard to this dude's life that she's like, here, let me help, and stomps on it to help it go.
It literally is a screwed up anime beyond all reasonable doubt. And so we're at the final stretch, right?
Yeah, we're at the final stretch, but I got a question. Now, I remember how Honda dies. I remember how Ren dies. I remember how Nobunaki dies. The chick with the glasses, how did she die?
Oh, she got chopped up too. She got her head cut off.
Gotcha. So why didn't they just
If I remember correctly... Oh, no. She didn't get her head chopped off. She got stabbed with the chainsaw. That's it. She died at the same time. She was upset and pissed off because the guy that became infatuated with Nobuaki killed himself. She got pissed off, so Crazy Honda kills her. And then when she's dead, Nobuaki and Rin say, whoa. Hold your horses there, Missy. Let's talk about this a little bit. We know you've been taking letters. We've been taking letters. Let's put this together, see what happens, and see if we can't figure out what's going on. And so they do. And the message is not pretty. The message is pretty dire. The message is pretty screwed up. And the message is, end the game by offering all your lives. As long as even one of you survives, the king's game won't end until all of humanity is destroyed. That is a screwed up message. And Crazy Honda doesn't take kindly to it, and she says, I don't give a flying crap about humanity. I'm gonna live.
Yeah, she reiterates the fact that, you know what? Even if she's the cause of everyone else's death, she will be the one to survive. Now,
And Nobuaki and Rin basically say, well, we all have to die. That's the only way to completely stop the king's game, is we all have to die.
Fire sale, everyone must go.
Yeah. So they think, both Rin and Nobuaki think that they kill Crazy Honda because she goes after him to try and just kill them so she can live. And what ends up happening is she, through the struggle, ends up getting severely injured to where they thought she was dead. And then Nobuaki and Rin are about to kiss, and she gets up with the chainsaw and slices half the dude's neck with it.
Yeah, cuts the jugular vein, and she's like, you know what? I'm doing this because I love you.
And she means it.
I don't know what... Yeah, she does.
She's not saying it just to be sarcastic. No, she's like, I genuinely love you. I don't want to share you with anyone, and so I'm going to kill you. And as she is completely off her rocker, Rin's like, what the hell did you just do? And is able to, through the struggle, finish killing Crazy Honda. And as she's dying, she's holding on to Nobuaki, saying, I love you so much, and then dies.
You find out that the Crazy Honda chick doesn't really love him so much as he reminds her of the one that she loved and had to kill.
Yes. And Rin is carrying his body now to the ocean because they're next to the ocean. And so she's carrying it out there, and they're sitting on the beach because both her and Nobuaki had both decided that they're going to die, so the rest of humanity doesn't get destroyed. And while they're laying on the beach, while she's laying on the beach, she kisses him because she fell in love with him. She fell in love with the kind of guy that he was, or that she had envisioned him being, and then walks into the ocean and dies.
And assumedly drowns.
Yeah. Now, you think that's the end.
You'd think.
You would. But after that happens, they basically do a whole rewind through all the events that had happened right there, showing an entirely different student around other students who were different at a different school receiving a King's Game text message.
So everything they did is kind of
for naught.
Worthless. Yeah.
Because it's already gone to someone else at the exact same time, which is, to your point, there was another one going on at the exact same time.
But here's the thing that I don't understand. Didn't you have to be part of, or at least have a place in the previous King's Game?
Maybe you just had to have some kind of connection to it, because the two Honda girls, it wasn't that they were in the King's Game at that village. And now this is something that you find out at that village, is that they were, where you find out that they were sisters, but that their dad was a part of the King's Game and he died. And it wasn't even that they participated in it because they were babies, so they couldn't technically participate in it, but they survived.
Yeah, their dad did, technically. Their dad did, so. Yeah.
So maybe it's through, like, it could transmit, because they make it as a reference to a virus.
Yeah, I was going to say, here's the spoiler for the whole series. You find out that Ria, I remembered her name, Ria, the chick who had been in the previous one from Nobunaki, she finds out that it acts like a virus. Now, it's not just any virus, and what it does isn't something you'd think a virus would typically do. The virus, it started out person to person, and then it sort of evolved into a computer virus that gained access to the internet. And what this virus does is once you personally are infected with this, you end up becoming super sensitive to hypnosis or hypnotic suggestion. So when the game says, hey, you should kill yourself by asphyxiation, you should choke yourself, you can't help it because it's you're hypnotized, basically. When one of the guy's arms twists off, it's because he physically was making it twist off.
And that's the whole thing. It's made to seem like, or be like, this is the power through hypnosis, and that it's through some random program through that was a virus that made you able to do these actions involuntarily without actually having been hypnotized due to this virus. And this virus evolved and became a computer virus, and so, hence the text messages.
Hence the hope that they were able to find a way to
stop it.
Yeah, find a cure essentially for the bug that is this virus.
Yeah. And I mean, that's honestly it too. I mean, like that's the whole anime in a nutshell. You're dead. You're gonna betray people. You're gonna get killed. And if you don't die at the very end, you're gonna go to a school where you're gonna have more than likely have to do this whole thing again.
Yeah, it's kind of sick and twisted if you look at it.
It is. It is
because it's one of those things where either you're gonna die or you're gonna live just long enough to kill someone else.
Yep.
So let's go with the rating, shall we?
Indeed.
What would you rate this as?
Oh, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 on a F.A.P scale of 0 to 5. I would give it a 3.5.
Why?
Because in all honesty, even though, and the reason why I won't go higher than that is because of how screwed up it was. It was a really screwed up anime across the board. It also gave you the impression, because it said to be continued at the very end, that there's going to be a season 2. So I'm waiting for season 2 to come out, in all honesty, to see where it goes from there. But also,
okay, so
it kept me captivated to where I actually watched this whole season, this whole series, all 12 episodes in one sitting.
Okay, so it didn't hold you. It was interesting enough for you that you want to do it. You would want to see more of it, but it didn't disgust you to the point of being turned off by it. Okay.
And you know what? I would be very selective too in who I would suggest this to. This is definitely not something you would want to suggest or recommend to anyone, just anyone to watch.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to have like kids watch it because that's pretty horrific.
Yeah. So on a scale of 0 to 5, how would you rate it?
The premise, the storyline, the premise is not unique in the sense that I've seen it before in the anime Another. However, the storyline is unique enough that it felt refreshing. There was a bit of a continuity error, in my opinion, in time, meaning the storyline for the time didn't really make too much sense, and it kind of lost me along the way. But it did a very good job of making you almost feel for the people you were supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, not almost. I mean, you did feel bad when people died, and you're like, but I liked them. So
yeah.
You become very endeared to Nobuwaki, sorry. Play on words. You become very attached to him. You start to root for him. Even at the end when you find out that, oh crap, everyone's got to die, it makes you feel real sad. That said, he chose to continue living. He chose to continue the game.
The first time.
At the end of the last game. The first time. And at the beginning of the second time, he freely was willing to die himself, to commit suicide.
And kill someone else with him.
So that in itself doesn't make too much sense. He was so willing to survive before, but now not so much.
I think that he may have had some glimmer of hope that he wouldn't have to play again. And when he realized he would have to, he was like, well, I really don't want to.
And for those reasons, I give it a 3 out of 5.
All right.
So 3 out of 5 F.A.Ps. Better than average, but that minor continuity keeps it from being a 4.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that about wraps it up. Next week is your suggestion, sir. So what are we watching?
Since we're on the theme of sad and whatnot, I'd like to switch it up a bit by going with the very first anime I ever watched on Crunchyroll. The anime that kind of introduced me to what Crunchyroll was about. And no, we're not sponsored, although if you're listening, 7 Ghost or 07 Ghost. It is an anime that I felt deserved a little bit more attention than it currently does have and did have. But I also believe that it deserves more screen time, to be honest. It, in my opinion, ended when it hit a potential halfway mark. So,
well, that will be interesting to see. I haven't seen that one, so it'll be a nice fresh watch for me.
Okay.
That's all we have for today. Please feel free to reach out to us via email at feudalanimepodcast@gmail.com, and we are also now on iTunes, so please leave us a rating and a comment. Be much appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe as well on your favorite podcast catcher. Until next time,
have a good one.